All right, good afternoon. So I want to talk a little bit about our Dark Age of Man session. Sam ran on Saturday. I had did a little recap. I've been kind of busy with some stuff, classes and things on and off, and I haven't had a chance to really listen back to the session. But it struck me that there was something about the session that was remarkable. There's something about the session that has never happened to me in a session. Not only has it never happened to me as a GM, but it's never happened to me as certainly as a player, never. And I just thought it was worth listening back. So I had a time. I listened back to 20 minutes here and 30 minutes there and 20 minutes there until I finished the session. There was only one time in that I'm aware of in the whole session. Let's put it this way: the entire session was yes and yes, but there was never a question. There were never meta moments, and it's truly remarkable to me. Sam set it up. We took what he said as the truth, and then we responded to that truth in character with our declarations, our actions, our speech, our decisions, and he accepted those as yes and or yes but. There was never a question. I don't think at any moment, 2 hours of game time, six human beings, that's 6 man-hours of playtime, and not one question asked that wasn't my character asking an NPC a question. When I asked the NPC his name, right? Who are you? What is your name? It was in character question. There was never a moment where we discussed anything meta, except one. There was one moment, which was kind of, ironically, at the time felt very awkward for a couple of reasons. The first reason, because we hadn't stepped out of this yes and yes but communication, even when there were dice rolls asked for, etc. Make a dice roll, whatever, check your body, whatever, make a combat roll. There was never a really meta conversation outside of that. Make the dice roll, and I roll the dice and say with 12, 9, 4, whatever. But we had one moment that seemed, for me at the time, very awkward and very jarring. And now I know why, because the entire session was run where we didn't step out of character. Not even really Sam. I mean, Sam GM'd. He had to be in a omniscient voice at times to describe certain things, but remarkable. And the second reason that was such a surprise, or I should say a jolt, was it was completely unorthodox in that Dale, he did not ask Dale for a roll. Dale, as the player, asked him to make a roll on behalf of an NPC. Roll to see how Lord Wesweld handles this. Was very strange. I don't know, it was strange, but it catches you off guard. I mean, wait a minute. But it worked. It worked. And ironically, it was jolting for really two reasons. One, we hadn't done it at all. We hadn't had a meta conversation like that in any moment in 2 hours, 6 man-hours of play. No, can I? No, what is it? Describe it more, ask more questions. No, we accepted everything he said in its entirety every time he said it, and we took it as, and we processed it from our character's point of view. Kids are running around in the streets, and we declare our action, do our saying, say what we want to say. One time, and on top of it, it was very unorthodox in that a player was asking him to roll for the NPC, as opposed to the GM saying, Dale, make a luck check here for me. Dale, make a mind check here for me. So that was, on top of that, it was very unorthodox. And our game functions to do that, although that is completely and utterly unorthodox and really a kind of an interesting moment, right? Something that not even in our play tests did we see come up. But I was absolutely awed by it, because there wasn't speculation. Maybe this is happening here, or I'm thinking maybe you guys could see this. No, he just described the thing. He described it, and then we responded in character, not with questions, not with further questions, but with yes, and this is what I'm doing, or yes, but I'm headed to Vidar's place. And it all happened live and in character. And I got to be honest, it's the only time in my 40 years of gaming that for 2 straight hours, not one person at the table speculated or maybe or ask questions or Mother May I, or could you elaborate more on that description? Could you tell me more about this? Or hey, would I know that Wesweld is married to the Northwich Queen? We didn't meta anything. If our character knew it, we knew it. If our character didn't know it, we didn't know it. So what I learned in Saturday's session as playing in a game like that, if we have provided the information via the book, or we've provided the information via the setup, or we provided the information via a session 0 conversation, if you know it, your character knows it, or I don't have to ask, do I know Wesweld is married to the second daughter, right? There are certain assumptions we are allowed as an informed player, informed GM, but informed audience, so to speak, right? Very cool. Does that mean there was no mystery? Oh no, far from the truth. Mystery at every moment, because we don't know what the response of NPCs are going to be to us when we talk to them. We don't know what we're going to learn from this feast. We don't know what we're going to learn from even between Dell and I, the conversation walking back to the Abbey. Dell doesn't know my character is going to accept his ask, would you please use your boat to take me north? You know, it felt remarkably, how do I say this? Not in character. It felt remarkably smooth from the launch to the end of the session. And I've got to say, I don't know how we did it. I don't know how us 3 particular guys did this without a question, without any meta conversation, bar one, right? Roll for Weswell, please. Make a roll for him, please. That was the one time, and remarkable, truly remarkable. And still had obviously the meta, you know, make a roll, Jason, roll your mind here, Jason, roll combat, whatever, right? I mean, that's gaming. You have to do that, right? There's no way to communicate outside of that. If we were live at a table, we could do like poker, you know, tap means I want to roll, you know. I don't know. There'd be no reason to do that. I mean, we're not that, we don't need to be that in character, right? But holy cow. So I had to share that because it was a remarkable experience for me. And listening back at it, I found that I thought something was special about the actual role play, the actual 2-hour session. And what it was that didn't happen at all. And I don't know how to, except we communicated remarkably well. And it proves that the system can be even better when we take what the GM says for that. This is what he says is it. This is it. Go ahead. Feel free to imagine more. Go ahead and yes, but as your character in character responding to this information. If it's wrong, there will be a die roll called into play, or if it's meaningful and it's wrong, he'll have to clarify communication. But we didn't have any assumption or risk. We had none of these assumption mistakes where we made an assumption about something that we didn't overstep our bounds. We didn't, and it was nigh flawless. It was almost a flawless experience of what I think Dark Age of Man can be. And still had games, still had dice, still had challenges, still had mechanics, but really, really amazing. So anyway, everybody out there have a great week. I will be on here probably tomorrow to go ahead and catch up RPG a day. I think I'm behind 2 days. I'm not going to do it today, but I will get on here tomorrow and I'll catch up the 3 days. So thanks for watching. Everybody out there, again, have a great week, great weekend. Bye-bye.